Argentina's next president knows how to attract the crowds. Alberto Fernandez, cheered on by thousands of his supporters in Buenos Aires. He's clear on his plan for the presidency.
We are, of course, going to work together as closely as possible, because the only thing that will concern us is stopping the suffering of Argentinians once and for all.
It's a return to power for Argentina's centre-left. Also making a comeback this time as Vice President, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner. She herself was president for 8 years. Fernandez's choice of running mate split opinion among the population, but Kirchner doesn't see it dividing the country.
Today, Alberto is president of all Argentinians.
Striking a similarly unifying tone, outgoing President Mauricio Macri thanking supporters as he conceded defeat.
This is for Argentina, an orderly transition that will bring stability to all Argentinians, because the most important thing is the future.
Macri will remain president until December the 10th, but handover talks with his successor will start immediately. He's invited Alberto Fernandez for a breakfast meeting at the presidential palace on Monday.
With me now here on the set is my colleague Javier Arguedas from our Latin America desk. Javier, always great to have you here. I want to get your take on who is Mr. Alberto Fernandez?
Well, the name might not ring a bell internationally, but he certainly is a well-known man in Argentina. He has a very classic profile, I would say, for a politician. He is a lawyer, he has some experience in the financial services sector, and he served as chief of staff in 2 governments, the one of Néstor Kirchner and Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, who we just saw. So that means he knows his ways around the Argentinian politics for sure. The fact that he served in those governments, of course, makes us assume that he will have more left directed government, an interventionist government for sure, but that is a task that will be for sure very difficult.
All right, well, you mentioned her name. Let's talk about the so-called comeback queen, former president, former first lady, and political fixture in Argentina. Of course, I'm talking about Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, not a relation of Mr. Fernandez. She joined forces with Alberto Fernandez. What can you tell us about this alliance?
Well, at the time, it was seen as a very smart move, and now we know it definitely worked. Now, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, as we saw, is a deeply polarizing figure. She knows that. So it was smart to pick someone who is known as someone who can negotiate, who is perhaps more relatable to a broader part of the population. The problem is, and this is very important, that many people think he is going to be a puppet of Cristina Fernández de Kirchner. He has distanced himself from the Kirchners before by founding his own party after serving in their governments. And most importantly, he will have to proceed with extreme caution when it comes to his relation to Cristina Fernández, because let's not forget, and this is very important, that she is accused of at least 11 cases of corruption. So it is not completely impossible that we will see the Argentinian vice president in jail during the tenure. So maybe it was a smart move, or maybe it was a warrant for a scandal in his government.
Now, Mr. Fernandez, is he the man who can cure Argentina's economic malaise?
Well, that is literally the million-dollar question. Probably he will be someone who can negotiate, which is very important, because he has pledged to make sort of a big deal combining the private sector and unions, for example, and of course also the government institutions, to buy some time for the Argentinian economy. Argentina desperately needs to attract direct foreign investment in order to diversify the economy. But that can only happen with time, a time that Mauricio Macri, the current president, did not have, clearly. Argentinians were not patient enough for him to actually implement reforms. And Argentinians will definitely take to the streets very soon if that does not work. So his idea is to, deal with everyone, negotiate everyone, bring everyone in. But he is in a very polarized country with very impatient people.
The hemisphere is in upheaval. Very briefly, if you can, Javier, what is at the root of the political problems in Argentina, and do they mirror what's happening elsewhere?
Well, I would even dare to say that the region is mirroring Argentina. Argentinians have taken to the streets for years now, and the problem is that polarization. No one concedes that the other side can have a good idea, so they just simply roll back everything that the administration before them did. So Argentina, in the end, does not agree on anything, and that is perhaps the most important problem, to put it very simply.
Okay, Javier Arguedas, thank you so much for your analysis. Greatly appreciate it.